start recording this meeting, and then you'll be able to view it or at least listen to it later, hopefully with better sound than you may have right now. Okay.
Okay.
So, and I'll just turn it around so as we do introductions. The last bit of housekeeping is that there will be no notes taken. It is a confidential focus group. We are recording it. And the purpose of this focus group, there's seats up here, you can slide your way up after you get refreshments, is to assist in the marketing of the Richmond Ballet's Nutcracker in Norfolk at the actually Chrysler Hall. And so there won't be any testimonials or references to you, attribution to you and your responses in any of the marketing communications. So it is confidential in that respect. And I'll be moving us along because there's 3 phases to our focus group here, which I'll show you. If you can see, there's, there is the logo and the name testing, image testing, and campaign testing. And then there's some concluding questions. The heart of this focus group is this campaign testing section. So these first 2 sections where we're doing logo and name testing is something that we want to go through more quickly than other parts. So let me just make sure, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. So let us commence with you, please, and your name, and then quickly, and I'll help you guys get through this, your interest in the cultural arts, to what degree, whether or not you've attended the ballet, and if you know of the Richmond Ballet already.
My name is Sally Dick. I'm retired. I have retired from state criminal services system after 30 plus years. And now I'm spending my spare time taking ballet classes. I was originally a theater major in college, and I've always been very, very supportive of the performing arts. And I think there is nothing like live theater because you never know what's going to happen. There's always a little thing. And it's just, ballet is probably my favorite art form. I don't know why, maybe the musicality of it, but I'm a very strong supporter of ballet. And I have attended performances at Richmond, but I do a lot with Scott Field and locally in Norfolk. My name is Mary Linda Cossack, and I have been interested in ballet since I was a little girl. My parents were able to afford sending me to discussions. But then when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader, and I was always envious of the girls that had ballet training because they could jump higher and look better than I did.
My name is Craig Thompson, and I've been primarily in the moving and storage business. Mary Lynn and I have been subscribers to the Symphony Pops before, and we attend occasional symphony concerts. When the kids were little, I think we saw the Nutcracker at Chrysler Hall. I'm not sure who did it. And then when I was in college, I took a course that had us go to what was then the Virginia Beach Convention Center or whatever. And we watched the Virginia Beach ballets. So we are increasingly more involved in the arts and seeing the different performances.
Have you ever heard of the Richmond Ballet?
I have never seen them in person.
Do you have a first impression when you hear the name Richmond Ballet?
Not favorable because, like I say, everything seems to be split up regionally or citywide here. So when I think of a ballet that would represent the state, I think of Richmond Ballet. I think of,
Okay.
Were you aware that Richmond is the state ballet of Virginia?
Pardon me?
Were you aware that Richmond Ballet is indeed the state ballet of
when I read the poster over there, yes. But not before tonight.
Okay, not before tonight, okay.
That's cool.
My name is Valerie. I'm new to the Norfolk area within the last 2 weeks by way of Wisconsin. So back.
You have a fellow Wisconsin over there.
That's what's up. So I've been here 2 weeks. However, in Wisconsin, I love the live performances, whether it's theater, Shakespeare in the Park, just any live performance, because there is this feeling where the performer has to bring you into that stage with them, and then you get to be there and experience that, and that's what a good performance does. I'm not much into going to movie theaters or anything, but any live performance. So being here just a short time, I right away got on Craigslist and everywhere else looking for activities, looking for things that go on in the city. This is one. I was anxious about this focus group because I would get a chance to learn more about something. So I was really about that. And my little guy, he's 30, but my little guy.
Welcome.
Little guy.
My name's Bob. Hampton,
Welcome.
My name is Marsha. I, I've been to ballet, the majority of my life was in Germany, and so we've seen, as a younger person, my parents, taught to watch and on the right, so we went to a lot of ballet, different theatrical, things while we were over there. So, that is as far as I go, as far as my history with it. But I am interested in getting in, if I do have kids, I want to bring them in, just something different things.
Thank you.
And first of all, I have a 20-plus photo graduate. English, and I've been to a lot of ballet. Do something that I want to find and do something and do. And I'm here enjoy the body. Enjoy the
And did you say you had or had not been to ballet before? Have not. Okay. Just by show of hands, quickly, how many of you have been to a ballet performance before? All, probably about half of you. That's perfect. For focus group purposes, what do you want to say?
You're a kid and you don't really remember, does that count?
That counts.
It counts, okay.
And how many have been to a performance within the last 2 years or so? So there's maybe 4 or 5 of you. Okay. Has anyone ever been to the performance that they had of the Nutcracker by the Richmond Ballet at the Chrysler Hall in December? You happen to go. You're a unique person. So I think you're the only one, but that's great. So we might actually probe how you got there. Welcome.
Well,
Sorry I
thank you.
crossed you up on the location.
No, it's quite all right. It's my confusion.
Here, let me go.
I'm sorry.
So let's continue with our intros. We're just doing intros right now.
My name is Noah Brady. I am a home mother of 3. I have one girl who are interested in ballet. I was out and take some ballet classes. About 12. I've never been to a live ballet performance, and I am a
Thank you.
My name is Brooke Sutter. I'm also been a mom. Got 2 boys and a girl.
And I grew up dancing. I love it. Always been a big part of my life, and I danced a little bit at Brigham Young University. But I was a social worker for my kids and dancing with kids. And I don't get to do ballet as often as I like, but I do like to. Oh, and I should say that I lived in Richmond, but I live in Carrollton now, so definitely know ballet.
My name is Kristen Knight. My husband has been in the military for 16 years, so we've moved all over the place, and we lived here for a couple of years. I'm a stay-at-home mother of 3 children. I dance as a young lady and through college, and we, as a family, see all types of performances every year. I have a daughter who has a definite ballet bent now, who seems to be heading down that path. So, did not specifically know that the Richmond Ballet does any work in the Northwest Road or the Hampton Road area. After living here for 2 years.
Thank you for coming.
Just retired from doing my corporate. I have a 12-year-old boy and girl. I've never been to ballet, although I love classical music and my mother too, and I've seen hundreds of plays, but I've never gone to ballet. Show where I've been assigned active for the last 9 years. I've never seen ballet. I like the dances. I just did a play with a whole about 3 months ago, Raising the Sun. I love that. I love it. I did Lion King on ice last year. I was in New York. I love it. Disney on ice. I want to see that. Never seen the ballet though, but I love live performances. I love things that's not rehearsed. Improvise. I've learned to do that. Being an actor, sometimes you mess up, but you got to keep going. People think it's a mistake. So I'm learning to new here with the ballet thing. I see some men in here, so I don't have to feel soft or some type of way. So it's a learning experience from all these.
My name is Marcia Ford. I'm an athletic psychologist and a former special education teacher. I'm also a past membership officer with CEOs with the acronym for Southeast Student Arts Association. We sponsor various cultural events, plays, and so forth throughout the Hampton community along with Afghan although initially I commented that I hadn't seen a ballet, when I heard you say going through this child, I was like, I did go back in elementary school. This is so long ago. I do enjoy watching PBS and looking at the performance there, but as everyone has said, there's nothing like a live performance. I'm an avid supporter of the arts, and I'm also a former employee of the Virginia Symphony working in the jurisdiction state.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Well, my name is Jacqueline Brown. I'm a resident of Virginia. I love dancing, even though I didn't start dancing until I got to college. Before then, I was just dancing in my house. Once I got to college, started dancing on the public. Love dancing. I liked the idea of ballet when I was a child, but when I took a class, I was not good at it, so I just did. I was real young, I was like 7 years old, but I've always liked ballet dancers and dancers just in general. I didn't know about the Richmond Ballet, but I have a lot of friends who kind of do ballet contemporary. So I guess I do like the Nutcracker. I've only seen it once as a child, uh, maybe like in elementary school. But I think I've been to the opera in elementary school, and I go to the MSU theater a lot. I have a lot of friends there, so I definitely love live performances, and I like supporting arts.
Welcome.
My name is Judy Keys. I am a senior at Norfolk City. I'm from New York City, and I've been to ballet twice, once as a child and once Um, I, through the years of me living in New York, I've always gone to plays, uh, different types of dancing, that sort of thing. So, to move from there to here, I haven't been to a ballet since I've been here, and I've been here since like 1989. So, as far as appreciating it, like you said, NSU does have different types of dancing and culture and things of that nature. So I do, participate when I can. I am aware of, how, the way that it works as far as the dancing and the culture and that sort of thing. And that's basically it. I'm just, I haven't been to any performances in a while as far as ballet. The Nutcracker I did. So it kind of caught my eye when they said Richmond, so because I guess in the Virginia area, Richmond is kind of like, what is it, like a major city or whatever, but I did not attend when it was here, so I just wanted to.
Well, thank you. Has anyone not had a chance to introduce themselves? I think just going through this, but roughly this outline.
Oh, okay. So my name is Antoine Person. I have been to a few ballets. I know a handful of dances, so I have been to them before. I haven't been to one in a while, though, maybe a couple of years. Um, I have seen a couple of plays, but it's during my childhood years. I haven't seen any locally, so I was interested in coming to find out more about the Richmond Ballet to see if so that I can attend the area just to get more awareness about um, the shows would actually be here. So I was definitely interested in that, which is why I wanted to come and check it out. Outside of that, I've seen shows mainly in Philadelphia and New York. I don't know if I
Thanks.
My name is Tyrone Taylor, I'm downtown Brooklyn, and I got a daughter who's actually to the family back today. Maybe outside of like saying live performance, I've never seen one, other than like saying looking at what I see on YouTube and Asian dancers and couple of clips. But I mean, it definitely looks interesting and looks really cool, and to have that type of flexibility and strength, that was something to actually witness. So.
Great. Thank you so much. We're going to quickly, as I said from the discussion we had, to do what we're calling logo and naming testing. And it's kind of small on the screen, but hopefully you can see it okay. The names I'm going to be showing you, and then we're just going to get a show of hands of which one you like the most. So you have to retain a little bit. And I have copies of the names that you can sort of be peeking at. If you want to look at it, you can just flip through it. But let me just go through them really quickly because this is just a small exercise relative to the campaign testing we're going to do. So the first one you saw is Richmond Ballet, the State Ballet of Virginia, Artistic Director Stoner Winslet. And also my co-facilitator is Pearl. And she, if you want to weigh in on this part of how you'd like to see it tested, but I'm just going to go through. They may have questions about the artistic director and the structure. So that's the first one. They're not labeled other than by a number, 1 through 5. The second one is it's composed differently, a little bit out of focus, but we're looking for the aesthetic layout of the logo. Pardon me if I block you right now. And also how the name is structured. Richmond Ballet, the State Ballet of Virginia, same titling. This one is reversed, State Ballet of Virginia, Richmond Ballet with this artistic director, Stoner Winslet. And this is the State Ballet of Virginia with no reference to the Richmond Ballet. So I'll go through it slowly this time without any comment, and then if you want to say something, but just to make a mental note, I'll go quickly through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You want me to move it back to 1?
No, that's fine. Brett, are you online?
Are you able to hear us, Brett? He's probably muted.
I'm able to hear you. I know I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You're with us, Brett?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. If you could just chime in, I wanted to explain to the focus group participants that our goal was to find out what their perception of the Richmond Ballet. Many of you all had said you had heard of Richmond Ballet, but you were not aware that we were the State Ballet of Virginia. Could we see a show of hands of those who knew that Richmond Ballet was the State Ballet of Virginia? Anyone knew that fact? Anyone?
Our one participant who attended the Nutcracker.
There's one person, Brett.
Well, that's telling right there, isn't it?
Yes. And my question to you, one of my questions would be, does it matter to you that Richmond Ballet is the State Ballet of Virginia? Would you like to more readily participate and support a ballet that you thought was the State Ballet of Virginia? Could we show us just a show of hands, those who would readily support if you knew? And now can I ask the question the reverse way?
That's about half the participants.
That's about half, Brett.
Out of 17.
Out of
Thank
17.
you.
How many of those would be a little less likely to just support Richmond Ballet just because it was just Richmond Ballet? How many would be less likely? Okay, just one. So that's good. Just one, Brett.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, that was.
A little qualitative information too. So, for discussion purposes, does anybody like to share with you why you said that the State Ballet might be something you'd be more inclined to support versus the Richmond Ballet? You have a burning desire.
I think I would be more readily to support the State Ballet because I know in order to audition process, they probably pull through a larger range, I guess, applicants. So, and I feel, I used to be sports, so when you reach the state, then that's a big deal. You have to compete at a higher level. So I know if I go to the State Ballet versus, a local, something right down the street, I'm expecting, like, these people to be amazing.
Like they are.
Yeah, right.
Our Packers fan over there.
Yeah.
I think if you talk about inclusivity,
yes,
or being inclusive of everyone, and you're looking at being diverse, if it's just recognized as the local Richmond area, if that's the perception, whatever the people in that area think of the local Richmond area, that's what they think of in reference to ballet. If you talk about it being this State Ballet in agreement with what you said, it includes everybody, and then the state gets to use it also as tourism. Like, this is what the Richmond Ballet, represents this whole group of people that this is what Virginia is. And it's probably semantic, but my only concern with the phrasing of it is that I'm sure maybe that's your tagline, the State Ballet might be the tagline.
yes.
But it almost sounds like the state prison or the state social service program or the state You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like the state, right? So
Can you hear that, Brett?
I don't know if it's semantic, if
I
it's
hear some of it.
that says.
She was saying it almost sounds like a state prison or a state governmental agency or something.
Yeah, like it belongs to
Okay.
the state, an institution,
It's like an institutional thing.
you know, as opposed to maybe semantic that says, you know, the Richmond Ballet representing the state of.
As opposed to a
You know,
tag,
I mean, I know it's semantic, but.
as opposed to a tagline that says the Richmond Ballet representing the state ballet of Virginia.
Might sound
Hmm,
more.
Or
okay.
representing the state of Virginia.
Okay.
Is anybody else, do you have a burning desire? You couldn't wait? Yes, our ballet.
Well, I mean, Richmond Ballet has been around a long time, although a lot of us don't know that.
Right.
But I don't think of the Richmond Ballet as the state ballet of Virginia because unfortunately Virginia has a state this and state that and state something else. To me, the Richmond Ballet is professional enough and superb enough that it stands alone. It doesn't really need that extra title, but the extra title is a nice little blurb to have, you know, in the advertisement.
Did you hear that, Brett?
Yes, I did, and I think one of the things maybe we can ask if you can do it. You know that the comments we heard about the Hampton Roads Norfolk area and Richmond Ballet not being part of the Hampton Roads. Is that an issue that they perceive, or is it just perception versus reality?
What the question that he would like to hear your thoughts on, we have been told by other organizations that Hampton Roads wouldn't quite be as accepted in terms of accepting Richmond Ballet because it was named Richmond Ballet and that it wasn't part of the Hampton Roads area. So he just wanted to hear your thoughts on, is that true or is that really just a perception that some people have? Yes, sir.
I'm really surprised to hear that because I think most people who are Richmond as the state capital, so a lot of the most sophisticated things will probably come from the state. I've lived here my whole life, and I've never heard anyone having a prejudice.
Yes.
I am not local. I'm not from Virginia, so keep that in mind with my comment. But if I was, and we do, several times a year, seek out cultural performances for our family, I would be more likely to look for something local than to look for the Richmond Ballet that happens to be performing in Hampton. However, if it said the State Ballet of Virginia performing in Hampton Roads, that's a whole different thing in my perception. But I'm not local, so I have no love or hate for Richmond Ballet.
Anybody else? Yes.
I've lived in Warren for practically all of my life. And so when you put Richmond with anything, oftentimes we're in competition in semi-pro baseball, state funding, and things of that nature. So I think the more emphasis in the state ballet, Carol, what you were saying, gives the Hampton Roads area and probably Northern Virginia more of an interest in that group rather than the emphasis on Richmond.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, just really want to reiterate what you said. I think when they asked me to come out and I thought the state ballot of Virginia, I already assumed Richmond. I didn't even see Richmond ballot, but when I heard the state ballot of Virginia,
You assumed that it came out of Richmond.
because that's the capital. Like you said, everything comes out of Richmond. But when you include the state, you come about Northern Virginia, Richmond, and of course, Hampton Roads, that was made in place of Virginia. So I think bringing the ballot to Hampton Roads, Richmond ballot in Hampton Roads, probably wouldn't sound right. But if you put the state ballot of Virginia and Norfolk, then it appeals to everyone. You know, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Isle of Wight, Franklin, Carrollton, Richmond, Henrico, you know, the whole state, you know.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Anybody else? Yes.
I think ballet companies are known to be in different places, and people who usually attend ballet in the Melbourne, New York company, you know, the beauty company, whatever, they usually come that way. So avid goers in ballet, you know, expect that the company will be listed.
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Why
Because
don't you repeat it, because a lot of people are nodding, and then we can have it recorded. And Brett can hear it.
Oh,
No, you can let Pearl repeat it.
Brett, it was interesting what she said, that avid ballet goers and patrons who are interested in seeing ballet, they expect ballet companies to come in from different areas. So it was not a problem at all for her that it was the Richmond Ballet, because, you know, the New York City Ballet and Atlanta Ballet and ABT, none of them are from the Hampton Roads area. A lot of them are ballet companies that patrons would want to see. So she didn't see it as a problem at all what the name of the company really represented. Yes, sir.
Was I
I'm sorry?
what was I couldn't hear everyone, but it seemed somewhat a little split from those that spoke, that said the State Ballet of Virginia would be something that might attract them over just Richmond Ballet, and others said Richmond Ballet was fine. Is that my understanding from what I could hear?
Yes, it is. And let me just try to get a show of hands so we can have a little bit better view. Can you tell us who really does not think Richmond Ballet should be necessarily associated with the state of Virginia? How many of those? So we have about 1, 2. You're fine with it just being Richmond Ballet. That's what I'm asking. Who's fine with it just being Richmond Ballet?
No.
Okay. Who would like to see it say the State Ballet of Virginia?
It's a preponderance.
It's an overwhelming response that they like the State Ballet of Virginia.
And just for their knowledge, you can let them know that in 1990, Governor Wilder proclaimed us, and that's how we acquired that name.
The State Ballet.
Could you all hear that?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just historical purposes only.
I guess I've been in the dance scene locally, and for me, I don't want to say it's an oxymoron, but it's kind of like I don't expect the State Ballet to be in Richmond, just because, just from what I've seen, most of the higher competitive dances I've seen have been in DC, Northern Virginia. So it's interesting because I hadn't heard of the State Ballet before, probably the email that I got. But when I heard of Richmond, I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit more urban, because when I think of Richmond and the surrounding area, you know, I just think of the urban side. I know a lot of people from Richmond who commute to Virginia, and I guess it was just my perception. Like, it was kind of like the State Ballet, and I was like, what, it's in Richmond, really? It was like, and I never heard of it, so
that was an interesting comment. Could you hear it, Brett?
Yes, I can. Could. Yes.
I'm curious to know the Richmond Ballet is a very decorated ballet. It has national prominence.
And international.
International prominence, and the artistic director, reason her name is in subscript is she's a legend in the industry.
35 years. She's starting her 36th year this year.
And it's really, this is what we want to probe, is maybe about your perspective, that there isn't a lot of awareness of that. We don't know. But within the industry, that it's of great awareness. So how many of you knew that I don't know how you would put it, but that the Richmond Ballet is very distinguished ballet in the United States? So it's only two people or so, fewer than a handful out of about 20 were aware of that.
But how would we? I'm not trying to be funny, but how would someone know that? Just the general.
Well,
area.
it would all. I mean, we wouldn't know. We've never done research here. I don't know how much.
I think a lot of it, if I might suggest, and you tell me if I'm on the right track. I think that if you're not avid dance goer, ballet, contemporary, African, or dance period, it might not be on your radar. Okay.
May I ask a question?
I'm sorry?
But she asked how would they know that it's distinguished?
Right, and I guess a follow-up question I would like to add is, do they know any ballet companies? Well, what ballet companies would they correlate with national prominence?
How many of you feel like you know ballets of national prominence by name? Like Bolshoi Ballet or any prominent ballet company that you feel like that you know?
Only really two, Brett. So it's a dance thing. It's a ballet.
Right. It's just
So
it's
not on
general
the radar,
dance.
which is what I
Right.
thought. So it's not really a bad thing.
Right.
Richmond Ballet just got finished their international tour to China, which was their second international tour. The first one was to London, where you talk about the prominence of the ballet. They just got finished touring these four cities. And Brett and Stoner, who's the artistic director, was asked to be a part of a talking about being celebrated. Brett, can you help me with the form that you and Stoner were asked to participate with the National Geographic and?
Sure. It was the U.S.-China people-to-people exchange, and the State Department, U.S. State Department, invited us to be a cultural delegate last summer as part of the U.S. delegation that we traveled to Beijing to represent. It was only four organizations: Carnegie Hall, National Geographic, the the China Garden Project up in D.C., and Richmond Ballet, the State Ballet of Virginia, for our project called Road to China, and ending with our performing in 4 cities in China the end of May. So we were invited to participate. Secretary of State John Kerry attended the second day of the conference, and it was very prestigious for us to be invited to that. So that's the conference that Pearl was talking about.
Yeah, thank you. Randall wanted to make a comment, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
We've been spending a lot of time on this issue, and I would say, first of all, I wasn't nuts about the lady's name that I find out she's been known for 36 years. Fine, that's on me. I can respect that. And you tell me that Richmond is internationally not respected. I can understand that. I mean, if you're based in Richmond, why are we debating the name so much? I mean, if you really are that internationally renowned, be proud of Richmond. It is our state capital, and if you all live in Richmond, let's move on to something more significant than what you all.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm not from the local area. I was a resident of Richmond, though. I'm here at Brooklyn, but I live in the department. I'm part of it. So the Richmond Ballet and Grove, they continue all cases, look for appeal on Richmond and the whole thing. So we international traveling, they could continue or recognize. I didn't know Richmond happened. I was a resident of Richmond. I kind of looked for
That's what I was gonna say now.
Well, it helps us from a benchmarking standpoint to see what kind of audience that we have tonight. And we can carry on this conversation. We're going to move on to image testing, and these are 4 images that we want to review that are typical of a Nutcracker performance by the Richmond Ballet. And ultimately will be imagery you'll see in the campaigns, the ad campaigns that have been conceptualized. And we would just like you to review the images. We want a quick first impression of a couple of people, 2 or 3 on each image, and I'm going to spread it around. There's 4 images again. And then we are going to see which one is most preferred by the group tonight. So here's image A. It's out of focus, and I apologize for that. But does anybody want to comment on this in terms of your first reactions and what it conveys to you about the Richmond Ballet's Nutcracker? Because it's actually an original photo from the performance.
Still, it's overpriced.
Can you say that louder?
Straight to the point, like, this is it, this is what we're all about.
Straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
other comments?
I don't think it's a quintessential, this is the nutcracker picture.
Because at that point, is that the image A is not the quintessential nutcracker picture.
I guess I like to have pros and cons about it. I like that it's a different, like, I don't think it's an iconic picture, but I think it displays the diversity, which is something you don't really see a lot of. So I like it, but in terms of marketing, I don't think it's the right picture to be displayed for the nutcracker.
Did you have another point?
So the whole purpose is to focus more on the nutcracker, but more so because it is ballet in general.
It's an image of the nutcracker of many that could be used in marketing communications. And the purpose of tonight's focus group is to determine what form of communication, what visuals to use to make it more appealing to people like you. So you can just speak from your perspective, knowing what you know about the purpose of the group. Let's go to the next one. Here's image C. That's not a focus 2, but that's the low resolution image that can be used. Go right ahead.
I think the image has people in that part that is at the cracker. And then they put in that cracker. And female depot with itself.
So he's saying it captures his attention. It's curious how there's people in the background with the hats on, and it's a very interesting pose. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to the next. This is image B. Randall's shaking his head. You're shaking your head. Why are you guys shaking your heads?
Very linear.
Very linear.
But no grace. It resembles a circus or a
More like a circus ballet or.
It doesn't look representative of Richmond internationally known ballet.
Okay, so go right ahead.
No.
All right. Well, so Craig was saying that it isn't consistent with what he would expect of an internationally renowned ballet, and so it's sort of like a circus scene. And there's others nodding. Nobody's really countering that point. Is there a group agreement around that opinion?
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Image T. So what would you like to elaborate?
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
You feel as if you're on the stage. You feel immersed when I see it. Okay,
Are these images for inside a program or is it, I think that looks too busy for the front, so like inside it is nice.
Okay, it's a busy photo of the performance, but so you may not want to make it the signature photo, but it would be a good one to have in the context of a program or something like that.
I like straightforward. That's that joy, but no grace. And most people want grace.
Yeah, it does not appear graceful, but it appears joyful. Yeah. I don't know if you heard that. The image D appears joyful, but not necessarily graceful. Okay. And I will move us on to the next part of our, yes, I feel like I have a sense of what you guys prefer and that we don't need to rate it. And so now we're going to go to the campaign testing part of our focus group. And there's actually 5 campaigns that are on these boards and that we're going to be breaking out and looking at. And they each have concepts associated with them that not only describe a creative idea, but also, let me just close that. They have a creative idea, and then they have tactical ideas. So the boards are laid out like that. And what I've done for this section is to present them without the narrative part that describes the campaign. We're going to get to that. But we just want you to kind of look at the visual, or not kind of, we want you to look at the visuals of it and just give us your first impressions. It's going to be a character profile of the characters in the performance, and that they would have a print campaign. That's what that said. Like print means like TV, not TV, but magazine, perhaps newspaper, and that type of production. Then also TV. So these are storyboards about what would be a visual production, moving picture production. And then it actually would have an element of collector's cards. So anybody want to comment? Just first impressions, top of mind for the one called character profiles. Go ahead. You can't really see it. Yeah, you have to see the image up close. And we will, this is actually a ballerina. It looks like a butterfly right there.
We have to change the zoom top to the
What would you say?
Change the 100%. So that we can see it.
Oh, good point. Good point. Let's see if that's, yeah. So like that could be a poster. Is that better? Might be able to get a little bigger. That's not big enough. All right. So this one's called character profiles. And any comments before we move on to the next one?
And there would be different characters on different.
Yeah, the different characters would be, and we're gonna read about it in a minute, but they're the characters within the performance will be featured in this campaign, like the Nutcracker. That's really, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool concept.
Randall.
Yeah, I really think it's a lot different than typical ballet, but you compare like that to that right there. I mean, that is what I want in the ballet picture. No word, race, and beauty, where that is the likely way to go. So it's an ugly image where that's where Grace going up with the head.
Go right ahead.
I think in general, I mean, I agree with him, except for I know they keep talking about collector cards and things like that, and collector cards, because they have a lot of information on it. But in support of what he's saying, I know the Nutcracker as a whole, there's a lot of people on stage at times. And it seems like that's getting picked up on the cards, that there's just a lot going on. And I just wonder if some of it can be minimized, with as many characters on one card to enhance the one character, even though I know that there needs to be some surrounding, but it doesn't seem like it needs to be that many people on the first card. If you move it over some, you clearly see her. You clearly see the main character, but there's so much around that takes away from that butterfly image.
It looks like a Walmart. You know, which that in itself, depending on who they're selling it to, may not be bad. It might be an affordable, collectible thing that the average person can afford. However, it's just so busy that I wonder if, yeah, it's just so busy.
Go right ahead.
I like the first image as like a poster, just because it is eye catching. And I know for today, especially, it depends on who you're marketing to. So a lot of times, you know, if you're trying to market to younger kids, like, you know, people growing up, like, having a single image is boring. Like, if you're trying to catch people's attention and get people who not necessarily know about ballet and just have, like, the only image they have is, like, maybe from a movie, I think it looks like a movie poster. It looks like, hey, you know, there could be something to it. So as a poster, I think it's cool. As a card, I would have to agree with them. Like, there's just too much going on, but I can see like different. If you did different posters, wherever, kind of like they do the movie posters and things, I think it's a good concept.
I saw that phrase, it's bigger than ever. I really thought you were dumbing down this product. I think you try to think of a way to invite us to step up and go to the ballet.
Yeah,
dumb it down.
Yeah, there's two things I would say, and I'll get to your question. The ballet performance of the Nutcracker specifically is a unique ballet performance. It actually has Tchaikovsky music that's it's theatrical, it's a pageant, it has a holiday theme. So it's not a typical ballet. And this focus group is actually about the Richmond Ballet's Nutcracker in Norfolk. And it's already a tried and true tradition in Richmond. So that's why it's so narrow and it's not just about attracting people to the ballet in general. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask a question like this. If somebody offered me to come to Richmond, hey, come up here to the ballet, and say, when it's the capital, I would expect more. I would expect extravagance from a ballet this Richmond. Would I be wrong? Like if somebody took me to a carnival in Chesapeake at the Jubilee, right? If you took me to the World Fair in Richmond, I would see some extravagance, right? Am I wrong for feeling like that?
No, you would be absolutely right. Just so you know the participants, Alistair McCauley, who's the New York Times critic, he did a tour of 30 cities across our country to see all of their nutcrackers. You'll see in our friends and promotions that we will say, his comment was he would wish that every city in the Union would have a nutcracker as good as this nutcracker. And I say that to you for a reason only to show you the production values are incredible. It's snowing, the kids have moving furniture like Broadway across the floor, and it's so beautiful. Someone said it here tonight, the pageantry is just wonderful. Even people who live in Richmond, they leave and say, oh my God, I forgot I was in Richmond. I thought I was at a Broadway play. That's the beauty of it. So you're absolutely
But we
right.
recognize that you're not, as a representative potential Nutcracker ballet goer, you're not going to know that. So we still have to convince people with a baseline like you guys, and you represent the market well, as people who go to the ballet and those that don't. Some that know about the Nutcracker, most of you don't know about the Richmond Ballet. I mean, that's the way that it's going to be for us. That's the challenge that we have to overcome.
May I add something?
Go ahead, Brett.
I also want to put out there that we realize every city has multiple Nutcracker productions done by local dance companies, which we support. We have no problem with that. However, what we are trying to do is to help differentiate our professional production using professional dancers with the Virginia Symphony Orchestra in the pit from some of those productions to help convince, that's what we're trying to do, people that if they were choosing, they might want to choose a professional production over a local production. Not that we wouldn't want them to also go to the local production, but that's sort of what we're trying to do here, is how can we differentiate ourselves through some of these campaigns and images to make us look like the State Ballet of Virginia, or a Broadway show, for instance, something along that line. So looking at it from that lens, I think, is important.
One more comment, then we're going to go to the next one.
Everything else was perspective. I've never been to Ballet.
Right.
So the name Nutcracker is familiar. So some of those things on here I would see. I think Ballet, I think more of that, and not more of joyful. I'm like a detail. I would make it like $35 stuff more.
Yeah.
But I think the card idea is very good. It's just going to be in print. I would just think people want to cross reference stuff from digital. So we got some words on it, people that Google, right. Not everything was print. Everybody has to.
Right.
Can you paraphrase what he said for Brett? Because I couldn't quite hear.
Brett, he said he liked the card idea because he thinks that it would translate well to digital, and that him being not someone who was used to or had been to ballet, he felt like we could reach more people if we had something that would translate well to digital. What I didn't get a chance to tell him is that we plan, regardless of what we do, to incorporate this card idea into not a graphic of the production, but into a promotional tool to help educate people about some of the characters in the Nutcracker. And they all shaking their head, yes, 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 yes.
And
Thank you.
I think going forward, we're going to go ahead and reveal what the tactics are behind each campaign concept to help you better judge it. We were going to do one pass and have you judge it from a creative direction standpoint, and then look at it from a tactical standpoint. But in the interest of time, and also to fairly judge the campaigns, we're going to switch modes. So you can make a comment, and then we'll return to the presentation. Go right ahead.
I've seen the Nutcracker in several cities. But when I took my niece to one, her favorite thing was, every city does it, being able to take the pictures of the characters. And I think, we dressed up, we kind of like fall, and that was her favorite thing. I think most people, at least for me, is to take my children to the Nutcracker. If you have some type of campaign which showing that my children can interact with the characters, and I don't know if Richmond Ballet does that, but that's more appealing to me as a parent. Take my child so that they can interact and they can take pictures. If I see that in the campaign, I'm like, oh, look, you get to take the pictures, then my child's going to be most interested because that's what drives us mostly to go anyway.
Well, I'm going to quickly read this. The Clara the Mouse King, the Snake Dancer, Russian Bear, Sugar Plum Fairy. So each one of these, Clara, if you've seen the performance, is the star of the production. And then there are these characters, including the Sugar Plum Fairy. It may not mean anything to you, but for people who are regular Nutcracker goers, they're very familiar with these characters. These are all the beloved characters from the Nutcracker. What if we created a campaign that brings these characters to life, featuring a collector card profile that makes each of them a celebrity? The TV spots would show each character as the subject of a collector card, and as you zoom in on the card, that character comes to life. For example, the Mouse King copy would read something like, "To the Mouse Army, he's the leader of the pack. He's the general of the rodents, conqueror of Clara, and the flashiest mouse you'll ever see." Meet the Mouse King and all his scampering cohorts as the Richmond Ballet presents the Nutcracker. We would also create real collector cards for each character to give out in places like hotels, schools, etc. And a poster could reflect this theme as well. We've already dedicated a lot of time to this. You talked about making the cards digital or having the same kind of tactical purpose of getting the characters out there. Are there any other comments before we go to the next one? Because we want to allow time to actually have you choose your favorite by also reviewing the other four.
So I actually like the collector cards. I think it's a good concept for what you're trying to do. Most people, whenever they go to a show, regardless of the type of show they go, take with you, right? And it has collector piece value to the actual show, and you feel like you actually put a piece of it with you, makes it more memorable. It resonates with the patron.
I think I've seen this in a lot of live theaters. They have the opportunity for people to learn and hear the story first, whether it's through a teaching tool or parents. You can use this to talk about the story and, ask questions. So by the time someone like me, almost like a click or a spark, by the time you get there, you've already developed this understanding of what's happening, what's probably going to happen, how did that person get there, and how did they end up, those kind of things. And you're watching, you can actually enjoy it and follow it. And I think that is one of the gaps in a lot of I've gone to Oprah, and I missed so much because I didn't understand what was going on. And that's something that kind of walks me through online as part of the campaign. Not just knowing the character, but knowing the story behind.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and present the next one. It's bigger than life. So here's that campaign concept. And the description is, this is a big event. In fact, this year's Norfolk Nutcracker is bigger than ever. What if we took this idea to make people realize this is the big year to see the ballet? For TV, we would make Clara, the Nutcracker, and other characters appear like giants walking through the streets. You can see the pictures of Norfolk. They converge in the center of town and dance. Then we'd hear the voiceover say, the Richmond Ballet's Nutcracker is here, and it's bigger than ever. Posters and other marketing materials could play off the same visual. To support this, we might even have giant light projections of the Nutcracker on buildings throughout town with the line, it's bigger than ever. Let's hear from some folks. How about our back row dweller? Do you have an impression about this?
I like the
You're shaking your head. You've been to the Nutcracker before.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the concept of a TV shot with a giant office. I don't think that'll play well at Norfolk, but maybe doing the projections on buildings.
What about the theme of it's bigger than ever? It's
I think
an
that's
extraordinary opportunity, Randall.
I think that's entirely wrong. I realize I'm one of the older people here, but it doesn't come to my mind like modern Cadillacs have the symbols big as the salad plate on the grill. And I'm 6, but my age is like roll their eyes, well, that's modern life. I think that to have that in your tagline, it's bigger than ever. I just think it's crass, and it's an utter turnoff to me. And it feels like these people are not communicating here. This is not something I want to go to. This is just something.
How about you, Craig? You're a cultural arts person. Would this make you go to the ballet in addition to the symphony, or the Nutcracker Ballet itself?
Not with it's bigger than ever campaign. The Nutcracker is pretty much once a year, Christmas time event. And a lot of times what's happening is we're taking 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 kids with us. And so, the whole concept of the Nutcracker for them is the Nutcracker and the Sugar Plum Fairy and Clara and the Mouse King. And no matter how big or small you make them, they just want it to be impressive.
I want to take away what you said, because I can't believe that our artistic director felt the same way a couple of you did. But has anybody noticed that this is the Norfolk cityscape?
Yes.
That's the Bay Ridge Tunnel down there.
Yes. And this city line.
Correct.
Did anybody not know it was Norfolk? So about, does it make a difference now that you know that it's Norfolk?
Now that, and actually, I really like that, it's bigger than ever. Just that phrase by itself, stick it out there and let people think, maybe I ought to check this out. But not the idea of giants on the sky. I don't think that'll play in this game.
Go right ahead.
I think just without the name, it's bigger than ever. The projection and doing it inside Norfolk, making it a part of it, not just Richmond. Norfolk and about people there. They're probably might just say it's bigger than that also.
Yeah, we got a comment?
It's a great idea for something else, but in December, during Christmas, this is not what I want to see.
Okay.
This is not going to make me attracted to
Because the sales are bigger than
December. Right.
It takes away from the meaning of the Christmas season.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job, by the way, of each expressing your individual opinions and not always agreeing with each other and really providing unique perspectives. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I have 31 and a half things to do that practice. The movie says the same, right? I mean, things change over time. So it's probably different now than when it was when I went, and it's probably going to be different than when our kids, do the same thing. You got to reinvent yourself. So, yeah, I was thinking for now, you walk for you put the 3-day event, you only put the 3 days, right? So, yeah, I mean, the Nutcracker, I think, is self-explanatory to people who know what's going on. Now, to those who never heard of Nutcracker, that's where this stuff comes into play at, to get people to come out. But,
We are going to be having you each vote on one that's your favorite. And if you just want to remind yourself, we're putting them up on the wall. You might want to put that one over there just because I'm blocking it. Okay, this is third of 5. The story comes to life. With its storybook qualities, the Nutcracker takes the pages of a book and recreates them beautifully on stage. With this approach, we would open on an illustrated book in a TV spot, in that case, of the Nutcracker story. So there's an actual book that they would open up, and then they'd zoom in on a page, and the book would tilt up, and the characters would emerge from the pages, paying off the line, the story comes to life. Our magical theme would carry through nicely on posters, ads, and other support materials, like print and otherwise. We could also tie this in with area bookstores displaying the book that has been created by the Richmond Ballet 2 years ago, with signage that invites bookstores visitors to see the story come to life. And you could even possibly, if you buy your tickets online, have the book be sent to you directly in advance of the performance so you could show it to your kids and stuff like that.
yeah, I love this one.
So do you want to comment with this?
Well, we have several copies of the Nutcracker book at home, and so, I think this is my favorite so far, but I think that the character idea of the character profiles could be incorporated into this one, but just have like the storybook picture and then the same kind of card. Not necessarily in the card, but I just feel like it could.
Could be merged.
That's a good idea.
How about Mary? What do you think?
I like the book.
What do you like about it?
Something that you can keep as a memento of going to the Nutcracker. There'll be a great Christmas present for a nephew or niece to get that with him and read them and take them to the actual. Yeah.
And the poster itself would just be, it may not be clear, but a book. And so a lot of the work of the ad, that how it would convince people to go is with this, the imagery of the ad and just the line the story comes to life. That's why we looked at images first, because there isn't that much to the poster. The luxury of TV and maybe internet animation and spots that are run on social media like YouTube is that you can get more into the advertisement, but that's not so much the case with this poster. So when you consider it, think about how it would, you may only see a poster or a billboard, but we can do tactical things like have the books be available at bookstores, and that's another consideration. Go right ahead.
Valuable much need.
African American we see in any of the
Yes. And
collaborations.
we actually did a focus group 2 years ago just on recruiting diversity or making the ballet more welcoming. And this image was preferred. The company is actually very diverse. The cultural form is historically white in perception, and the audience goers are that way in perception, but it actually is a very diverse art form, and the audiences are increasingly diverse. You know the numbers better.
We are definitely increasing in diversity. We're working really hard on that. But Rob is right, when it's traditionally seen as very elitist, and it's not necessarily art form that people in diverse community has been exposed to, then it does take some work, and we're working really hard on that. I hope you see that tonight, and Rob working to recruit a diverse group of residents of Hampton Roads, and he's absolutely right. This came to be the #1, and they said it was because there was some diversity. Besides the fact that they're two beautiful dancers, they liked the fact that there was some diversity there. Yes, sir.
You know, the first one was so ugly. It was like a guy in a brown tuxedo. He doesn't really get what it's all about. And I thought the second one was way too brash, but I think that third one in every way is well.
We still have time. All right, we're going to keep motoring on. This is the holidays are here, and we are going, again, we're putting them up, so you're going to be voting on the one that's most compelling to you. To some, the arrival of the Nutcracker is the official kickoff of the holiday season. The idea here makes it official. Imagine a TV spot that has huge, beautiful gifts arranged. Then each box pops open and our characters emerge from them. A voiceover would say, "The holidays are officially here. Get tickets to the Richmond Ballet's Nutcracker, December 12th through 14th at Chrysler Hall." Posters and other marketing materials would show the characters emerging from the boxes with a banner headline that reads, "From Richmond Ballet to Norfolk, the Nutcracker." And then this is the storyboards for a TV spot, and then people would be coming out of a box, and then there'd be a ticket kind of thing.
Right.
Did either of you have an opinion? Why not? So it doesn't personalize it as much as others?
I know the abortion again, but because of the focusing more on the holidays, sometimes people may have an urgency to
You think it's a good idea to focus it
well, I'm
on the holidays?
Well, I'm
It's
saying,
not a good idea.
no. I'm saying some people may feel the urgency to want to go because it's for a limited time. Usually people that think that something's running out, they try to have an urgency more to
bandwagon with everyone else because they want to be a part.
Are you agreeing with that, Randall?
No, yeah. I think the word ballet, it's like the word caviar. You know it's not a part of your daily life, but you realize if I can step up a little and get out of my comfort zone, I might really appreciate this. And I think to try to commercialize it like this is doing, or dumbing it down like the second one, I think that those are wrong ideas. I think you want to urge us to step up and taste the caviar.
Do you agree with Randall, or where are you coming from?
I agree with Brandon on that one.
Did it overly commercialize?
I do think it overly commercialized it. I don't like the president. It's distasteful. It's bright. The colors go together.
And it is conceptual, like what you probably recognize, but it's going to be in finished form once they finish determine the direction. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think the question probably would be like how many new ballet goers y'all have a year, because people probably know about what they're doing, whether they just do a child, so maybe the people who don't know what time it is, that's who y'all want to market to. Well, what's the next crap? Of course, me and you will look at them crazy, but there's some people out there who probably never experienced it, and clothes magic,
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So like me, I know what the nutcracker is, but I've never been to a ballet. And like I said, I'm not all that soft for women. Where it took me, like he said, the stuff, think outside the box. We try something new. I might like it. So I think to get the people who are closed minded, who are thinking inside the box. Once you come out and try this, come out and do this, and like you said, the different things you come off the cars, electric cars, you might, I got a car from the Nutcracker in 2015 and it's 2050. The cars might be worth some money. You never know.
It's also a big family deal, the way it was produced with the Richmond Ballet. We haven't gotten into the specifics of the production, but there are a lot of different types of Nutcracker performances, which you may already be aware of. Some of them are actually like freaky and weird, but this one is like the most wholesome family one. And there's a huge kid element. There are actually lots of kids in the performance. And so that we didn't go there with that group tonight, but just as you continue to think about it, there is a lot of appeal for this particular production for families.
And just so you know, on that, I just want to piggyback. There were over 80 kids from the Hampton Roads area in the production last year. So they auditioned. We actually have 2 of them in the Norfolk market. One will be at the end of August, where all the area dance schools are invited to bring their.
Because there's lots of people in the production, and a lot of them are just walking, and they're like characters in a play, and they do maybe a little dancing, but they're not the kind like this. And then the really like professional ballerinas will come out as a troupe or sometimes individually and perform different scenes. But then there's a story running, and so there's the ones that they recruit, they have to perform, but it's not as arduous as a real professional ballet performer. Okay, let's go to the last one. This is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I started to say one of the really good things about the Nutcracker from a company perspective is because it's not hit you over the head high rise, but there's a lot of good ballet sequences and good dancing, and it mixes well together. It's a fairly short ballet. It only runs about an hour and a half. And if you want to introduce somebody to ballet, it's a great way to give them a good taste of what a story ballet is, and to get somebody hooked that way.
And the music is addictive. Tchaikovsky, Nutcracker music. Okay, good point. Thank you, because you've seen it. So, Spokescracker, our last one before we vote. What if the Nutcracker were an actual spokesperson? It would be memorable and fun to shoot a wooden Nutcracker, moving his mouth up and down to speak and deliver our lines. He would be placed in the forefront of the beautiful Nutcracker ballet footage to narrate the TV spots. Posters and other materials would be framed in his nutcracker teeth. And in public relations, we could even have the nutcracker give interviews on radio. One fun aspect of this, we could create an app that lets you shoot a selfie and nut yourself, making your jaw move like a nutcracker. Your nutted self could be shared on social media, spreading the word about the Norfolk production. So,
You think you could just say it and have 5 choices to just say it and have 5.
shoot is a term for so everybody was had enough time to figure out. That's great. So, take one and pass it on, and you can write down your favorite. They're numbered, and I have.
You know, I thought we should get them to give us titles, because the numbers are gonna get confused.
Oh,
So
okay.
I thought this is the holidays.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go through it real fast. So what you're gonna do is say which one's your favorite and why. And the first one is character profiles. And I'm sorry, we don't have pens to distribute. Okay, so it's the first one, you can either put one in character profiles or just one. If that is your favorite, what's that?
Name it collector's cards.
Yeah, it's the character profiles. It includes collector cards. And each of the main characters in the performance would be hyped up, basically, in these cards. And there would be an opportunity to create collector's items for people while also using them as a medium to spread the message about the forthcoming ballet. And like this one's called the Chinese Dragon. It's really cool. It's like 5 people inside of a costume slinking all over the stage. And then there's Arabian snake and snake.
Charmer.
Yeah, snake what? Snake charmer. You know your stuff. And this, it may look weird now, but when you see it, it might become your favorite scene of many. It's very provocative. So anyway, you know about that one. That's character profiles number 1. It's bigger than ever. That one we talked about, the projecting on buildings and posters that are audacious. The third one is the story comes to life, and that is the book aspect. There's a real book that could be promoted, and then the animated TV and internet advertising could show the book scenes and make it more
The book, if that's the one you like, the Nutcracker book.
appealing. And then the holidays are here is the fourth one, and that's them coming out of a box
The gift box, please call it, the gift box.
from the Richmond Ballet to Norfolk, the Nutcracker. And then the last one is Spokescracker, which we just reviewed, so that should be fresh in your mind. So let us do tallies. Ian, please. And how many of you chose character profiles as the most compelling one to you of the 5? And if so, why did you choose it? Can we get a show of hands? Can you tell us why you chose as number 1?
I chose this as number 1 because although the Nutcracker is a ballet, it's also been a story that's been around for a very long time. And sometimes it's hard to remember the different characters. So if you present it in a way that it's already a story, and also highlight the different characters, I feel like it will pull more kids into it to discover what the characters are instead of just flat out telling you, hey, the story. And it's like, well, what type of story? What type of person is this? So I think it's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit more.
And we may not ultimately produce any singular one of these. It may be an amalgamation. So we're really just looking for direction like that. So thank you. So some elements of what you said may come out in a different theme. Okay, it's bigger than ever. How many of you chose that as number one? Nobody. Okay. The story comes to life. Well, let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's obviously the most preferred. It's good to have unanimity. So who would like to share why they chose it? Go right ahead.
The reason why I chose it, and I want to bring home kids and want to have something to take back with me. I can get a book. If it's at a reasonable price.
Yeah, it's $20.
Oh, well, yeah, then yeah, definitely. It's something that we can take back, and this is something that they can talk about, and we can look back at it. And so yes, I like this. I like the actual caption of looking at a storybook and telling stories. I'm able to relate to it. I see something that resembles me, so I want to come. And like
Thank you.
Open the mind.
How about you?
I just want to say, the story comes to mind, but I also like how she said, especially if we can incorporate the character cards with that somehow, like the incorporation of character cards with the story. Not one or the other, but however you need and.
Yeah, different levels,
Yeah.
mediums.
Probably being parallel with the book, it seems quiet, traditional, but also like this is what we're proud of ourselves. Like I don't want to cram beer here. Beer should have a certain bite to it, and this seems like this is what we've been like for the last 40 years. This is what we are.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I studied the book. I'm an avid reader, so I like to read. The only downside to that is that, of course, you can't fit everything from the book to the play. But for people who don't have time to go see the play, yeah, the book, that's a good idea. I like to read and picture things in my head. So if I want to go see the play, I'd be like, oh, okay, I remember this. This is from chapter 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be good. They sold books at the play. I buy one. Take it home and read it like you said. It's a collector's item. So now I know I got the book from the 2015 play Nutcracker.
Awesome. Another.
She made a very good idea. It was a pop-up.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
A pop-up.
At least that first page, just like
Yeah,
that.
like
We opened up that.
yeah.
This one.
So that, but
Like,
it
yeah,
is.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, not the whole,
Yeah,
not the whole book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was he was like 3 years ago, wasn't he? He's not the main. He doesn't perform for the Richmond Ballet anymore. That performer.
Oh, yes, Tommy, very much so, yes.
He's still in it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go, you can see him perform. Okay. He's great. All right.
Plays a lot of roles.
We're going to go to the next one because we're over time. The holidays are here. Did anybody vote on that? Because we gobbled up most of our votes.
Well, I like that one because I think it blends in all the advertising and see you out here. And maybe with what you're talking about TV ad was taken a little bit further than they've done in the past.
All right. And the last one, you got that being up one vote. The spokes cracker. We weren't joking. We're serious about this. It wasn't meant to be.
It's the way you word
All right,
it.
I like the pictures with the Nutcracker on it. I mean, I think that would be appealing to kids as well. Because that shows pictures what's going on, and at the same time, showing different things, but I see the Nutcracker. So I like the idea. I think it would be all.
maybe not as an advertisement, but I think it would be a good idea to have like a photo backdrop. Like if you were to take pictures at the ballet and the characters come out, you can probably take pictures on that backdrop.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
To have the, you get the picture taken with the nutcracker.
Yeah, like the club, you know, have now you don't know this, but all you need is a wicker chair. So we're know what that means.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So the winner is The Story Comes to Life. Yay! And we're ready to conclude. Ian will meet you at the door with the checks, and if we miss something, we'll get you the check before you leave. But he's already written out the checks, and then Pearl has
Lovely,
stickers.
lovely magnets for everybody. Thank
Oh,
you. Thank
And
you.
are you?
And Dawn will have your ticket voucher so that you'll get 2 tickets to our production. You get to choose the day that's good for you and your family.
All right, thank you so much. Any final comments or questions? Oh, she has one more.
No, I was gonna say you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll be here. Thank you. And we have more refreshments.